Chevron is a proud sponsor of the Jason Project in association with the Harris County Department of Education, HCDE.
Okay, today in class, we will be exploring what happens when fresh water meets salt water. Okay, can someone tell me, what can they tell me about the density of ocean water compared to the density of fresh water?
Salt water has a higher density than fresh water, so it sinks to the bottom and the fresh water rises to the top.
Okay, so salt water is denser than fresh water. So can you predict what will happen when the two bodies of water meet? Any idea in terms of what would happen?
Well, due to the saltwater's high salinity levels, the saltwater will most likely sink.
Okay, and why do you think that the salt water will flow to the bottom, go to the bottom?
The salt water is more dense.
In an estuary, okay, which we talked about previously, we know that these are formed when salt water and fresh water meet. Okay, there is an area where this fresh water and the salt water form a layer that's in between, and this is referred to as a halocline. Okay, you'll be looking at the formation of the halocline, how they behave, okay, and the structure of the halocline. Okay, step one, what you will need to do is fill your two beakers, your two 250 milliliter beakers with 200 milliliters of tap water. In one of your beakers, you will need to add a few drops of food coloring. While one of you is adding the food coloring, the other partner or teammate may make a saturated solution of salt by adding spoonfuls at a time to the water until the water is turbid or cloudy. The next step, you want to go over to your container that you've already prepared. Place your divider in the middle of the container with one person holding the salt water solution and another student pouring the food color or the colored solution. Pour those two solutions into the container at the same time. The food color solution on one side of the container, the salt water solution on the other side of the container. Be careful not to touch the container or bump the table once the solutions have been added to the container. Now carefully, slowly remove the divider that is in the middle of the container. Observe the formation of the layers. Make a prediction in your notebook. What will happen when you remove the insert? Describe what happens after you've removed the insert. Which layer stays on the bottom?
Salt water stays at the bottom.
That's right, it is the salt layer that stays on the bottom. So why do you think that it stays on the bottom?
Salt water stays at the bottom because it is more dense than fresh water.
Absolutely correct. Salt is denser than water, so it will sink in this situation. There are different types of organisms that live in a freshwater ecosystem compared to a saltwater ecosystem. In this case, such as in estuaries, where the salt water meets the fresh water, those organisms that in that area would have to adapt to that environment.